I think it's pretty safe to say that when we examine the Skywalker saga, specifically the sequel trilogy by Disney, there's been a lot of issues with The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, and how those two films really essentially derailed the Star Wars franchise and the entire sequel trilogy, and how fans actually perceive Disney's Star Wars, and exactly, what Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy did at the time with The Last Jedi by allowing Rian Johnson to have full creative control. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the one great thing about the future of Star Wars, at least as of right now, is that there's a lot of change coming our way by, of course, Disney's Bob Chapek really creating, new Star Wars stories that are going to be more authentic and more in tune with George Lucas's vision of Star Wars, and exactly how that's all going to be pretty much, imported into this new Star Wars universe. And that's the one thing that I think a lot of fans want, is that after watching The Mandalorian by Jon Favreau, you can see of how much it is true to the vision by George Lucas, and how it really feels like the original trilogy. And that's the magic of Star Wars. So when we look at everything related to what Bob Chapek is trying to do, he's not only really trying to rebrand Star Wars, but he's also trying to reunite the Star Wars fans around the world to create a healthy Star Wars fandom, so that this franchise can be ever evolving on a successful note at that. And they want to make it on the same exact level as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I've said this multiple times, is that, well, it's going to be a very lengthy process, a very time-consuming process. It's going to take a lot of effort to really get it to that level. Now, with that being said, what's really exciting is that now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker and the entire sequel trilogy, they are primarily focused on their new Star Wars universe in general, where it's described that both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are hard at work on developing a better future for the Star Wars brand and want to reunite the Star Wars fandom once again. However, behind the scenes, many changes are being made to the Star Wars franchise over at Lucasfilm, where it's noted that Brie Larson was recently attached to another Star Wars TV series besides the Leslie Headland Star Wars TV show that was going to be in animated form. Now, Brie Larson was going to be the main lead in the new Star Wars animated TV series, where the animation style was going to be lifelike and similar to the Old Republic video game cutscenes. Recently, George Lucas had conversations with Disney's CEO, Bob Chapek, where they came to an agreement to cancel Brie Larson from becoming a part of this new series. So let me stop right here for a second, is that Brie Larson was originally going to have 2 Star Wars TV shows. Apart from, of course, the Leslie Headland Star Wars TV show, she was going to have an animated TV show that she was going to provide facial scans for and do voiceover work, where her character would actually be a part of this new universe in this new TV series that would actually explore Brie's character. Now, and that cutting out Brie Larson was all George Lucas's idea from the beginning, and that this new TV show is currently being reworked without Brie Larson. Now, it's noted that Lucas believed that Larson's acting should be seen first on how she does in the Leslie Headland Star Wars TV series before moving Brie Larson to another series, and that George had in-depth conversations with Bob Chapek in excluding Brie from the animated TV show to be replaced with someone else. In the meantime, as George is confident, the fans will not accept Leslie's take on Brie's character. So here's the thing, in case you guys did not know, this most likely originated from Kathleen Kennedy, because Kathleen Kennedy is fully in charge with the new animated Star Wars TV show that is currently untitled. We're not quite sure exactly what it's going to be about, but originally it was going to involve actress Brie Larson, without even actually seeing how she does with the Star Wars fandom in the live-action TV show. So she was once again jumping another step forward before even realizing on whether or not the Leslie show was going to be successful or not. And this is very similar to what she did with The Last Jedi, right? With The Last Jedi, she straight up gave Rian Johnson a new Star Wars trilogy well before The Last Jedi even arrived in theaters. And ever since it really got bad criticism, The Last Jedi, director Rian Johnson has pretty much been unable to talk about his new Star Wars trilogy and what's really happening with it. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, that actual trilogy was separated into 3 separate spin-off movies, if you will, or single slated Star Wars movies. The other thing that I think is very important that a lot of fans should really know about is the fact that Kathleen Kennedy, you know, only has control over these 2 Star Wars TV shows, thankfully, and I gotta give it to George Lucas. I mean, George Lucas knows exactly what he's doing. He at least gave Kennedy a chance, you know, many years ago when he was promised that she was going to take care of all these characters, and now it seems as so that George is kind of turning the tables here, where now he's, you know, pretty much taking it out on Kennedy and what she planned to do with her animated TV show with Brie Larson. So to me, that's great news. So with that being said, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to